So I'm confused now. Are white people racist, or is everyone racist? Or is racist a term that you've made synonymous with just, disagreeing with you? It appears they think their job is to coerce you into acting and voting a certain way, and when they didn't get the result they wanted, well, they think they failed. They're turning on everyone. Now, as a journalist, sometimes I ask myself, what does a successful day look like to me? Some of you may ask yourselves that at your own job. At the end of the day, you think about it and you go, this is a job well done. So I don't know, I wake up, drink some coffee, peruse the news, sift through the fluff and get to what they're actually talking about. I write up a story, I'll probably drink some more coffee, check back through that story to make sure there's no factual errors and that there's actual value to the viewer. How are you guys going to receive it? I'll record that story, then I'll probably drink more coffee, and then that story goes out. I hope people learn something new, that it fosters discussion. I hope they learned about a part of the world that they didn't know about or a part of history that they didn't. And then it maybe encourages discussion, maybe even prayer. And then I'll drink a little more coffee, probably. Why do I bring this up? I believe you can tell what some of these news outlets' agenda is by what a successful day looks like to these journalists. And to these outlets, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, The View, which, isn't really a news outlet, but a lot of people get stir their political feelings. They get their political blood flowing. Drink their political soup from. Well, we know what a successful day looks like to these anchors, to these journalists, to these personalities, because on Tuesday and Wednesday, it looked like they had the opposite of successful days. As journalists, they acted as if they were failed days because they feel like they didn't do their job. They didn't do it well enough. That's odd because their only job is to report. It appears they think their job is to coerce you into acting and voting a certain way, and when they didn't get the result they wanted, well, they think they failed. Now, of course, they won't admit their failure. They'll just blame it on you. At least that's what Sunny Hostin did with The View, and she's had a pretty decorated career as a journalist on CNN and on ABC prior to the show. But take a look at this clip directly after the election results came out.
I want to dig further into the demographics because black women tried to save this country. Again, last night, 92% of black women voted for the vice president. You have Latinas in the 70 percentile voting for the vice president. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story, were not the story here, because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women.
For all you YouTube viewers out there, all three of you, I can't tell you how glad I am to feature The View on this show. I mean, it's so fun. It's just the highlight of my month. And because their logic is flawless. They really help me out. They help me help you be critical thinking when I show sound, foolproof logic like this. Now, she and others for that matter think that getting a college degree qualifies you to be a voter, to be an informed voter, to be a good voter, whatever the heck that means. But what happens when all those colleges think the exact same way, and then they indoctrinate all of their students into one way of thinking, and then they don't encourage dialogue, as it appears they have? Does that really make you a better voter? Does that inform you of everything at stake in an election? Or does that just turn you into a robot? Does it just make you a really good robot? Like an iRobot kind of robot, not the kind of robot that's in Robots, the movie. Though it's an outstanding movie, I wouldn't say that's a threatening robot as much as, the foes of Will Smith.
My wife's name out your...
On the contrary, I'll speak from personal experience. I've learned more about policy issues at stake and what matters to me outside the classroom. When I'm working, paying taxes, raising a daughter, experiencing marriage, engaging with people in social spheres, all these things gave me actual perspective And in the classroom, didn't really. And look, doctors and lawyers need a degree to go into their profession in order to practice. And I understand that. I'm not trying to abolish higher education, but that's not who they're talking about. They want people in liberal arts majors being brainwashed into one way of thinking, not how to think and practicing skills of thinking. And I think that you naturally learn how to think. See how many times I can say the word think. I think you learn how to think naturally when you fail on a job, when you succeed, when you interact with people, when you overcome differences. All those things happen in the real actual working world. And for a group that stakes their claim on inclusivity, that is, the left-wing Democrats, that's quite a polarizing comment to make. They're turning on everyone. It's like that Spider-Man meme. Speaking of which, I said I'm so glad to bring The View onto this channel, and the only thing that could make my day any better is to welcome Joe Scarborough to the show. Joe, come on in. No, I'm just kidding. He's not here. I don't think he would like being on this channel. But if he wants to, Joe, if you're listening, I'd love to bring you on. I have a lot of questions for you, and I think it would be a good interview. And you could actually, defend yourself for what I'm about to bring up, because boy, is it going to be fun.
If she were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida, do you think she would be losing by that much? Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States.
So I'm confused now. Are white people racist, or is everyone racist? Or is racist a term that you've made synonymous with just, disagreeing with you? At any rate, I think a successful day for Joe Scarborough is putting on his suit, combing his hair, probably drinking decaf coffee, and speaking for all women and minorities. Actually just some of the minorities, my bad, as of a few days ago. Check out this clip of Van Jones.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently, because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to, and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months.
Like, really, it's not that deep. It's an election. One side won, the other one lost. Some people voted more for one side, some people voted less for another side. If you get the votes, you win. If your person didn't win, find a way to win and to get more votes. Surely not every single African-American woman voted for Kamala Harris. I could name just a few in my life that I know didn't. So what about them? Okay, so if those two journalists didn't already give away what their driving force is, Joy Reid laid it all out on the table. Watch this.
Basically, we on this side of the TV screen have said all we can. We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy. But
she admits they made a conscious effort to deter you for voting for, wait for it, Hitler. And then, yeah, she did that on live television. And in case that isn't enough, she gave us a little history lesson on dictators around the world, in case you need to kind of brush up on that history. It's not like it, hasn't been in the media for the past month. Earlier, she called out specific demographics for ruining this election. And it's the kind of racism that these news outlets have staked their claim on killing for the past, 4 years. They have stopped reporting news and being true journalists and reporters to take a full-time job of defeating racism. And that seems like being biased towards one race and against another. And I feel like that's the definition of racism. I don't know, I could be wrong. So it was rightly called a media meltdown. They've been doing this all along. We shouldn't be surprised. Like, when I watched all this, I was like, see, this is what I've been saying for 10 months. I know you guys who have watched this channel for the past year aren't surprised. I'm really grateful for those of you who have. Speaking of which, I don't really see this going away anytime soon, which is why critical thinking is more important than ever. You may watch all this and go, what's the point of watching the news then, if the mainstream media is so dead set on this narrative and they won't budge even when it's blaring right in their face that they're wrong? Well, first of all, there are other outlets. There are other means to stay up to date. World is one of them. I've heard they're really good. I hear they put out really great news. They have awesome reporters. They have some mediocre reporters. Really one. But overall, as an organization, I think World, as an independent organization, not funded by the government or by any of these big media outlets, is putting out truthful journalism that cares about people and informing people and getting them sound journalism rooted in fact. And we're not informed by an agenda to bring down a political candidate. So that brings me to a conclusion, which is like this video and subscribe to the channel. Some of you may not know, some of you may know, that we have a full show, a full 10-minute program that's straight news, current events. You get all your news in 10 minutes, 5 days a week. It's called World Watch. Check the description for your free month code, and we'll see you guys over there.